This is the video where I'm going to talk about my thoughts on giving up. As promised, this does involve some ranting about Liz Taylor. As a freshman in college, and just as someone who's cowardly in general, I've been presented with a lot of situations where I've wanted to give up or run away. Pretty much anytime I walk into any sort of intimidating situation, my mind automatically goes into ways I could get out of it. No matter if it's something like giving a speech or going up to college 5 hours away from home or going out on a date with someone I'm not really into or, anything like that. Anything I'm reluctant to do, I automatically come up with at least 4 or 5 options for getting out of it. I don't always use these options, but I typically always have them in the back of my head. So, going to college has presented me with many, many opportunities to give up. And unlike most I've faced before, they will irrevocably change my life and take it into a different direction that I might not have wanted. So I've had to, talk myself out of a lot of things. So a couple months ago, I was just getting really, really stressed and lonely and not happy with my settings here at university. And I kind of thought about transferring and leaving, and I must admit that's still in the back of my mind. But one thing that really talked me out of it was my mom, because she's just all, you've done so much better than this. You can't give up. You've come so far. Blah blah blah. Well, besides that, I've always kind of held the philosophy, and I'm sure a lot of people do too, that giving up is cowardly, giving up is weak, giving up is not the strong thing to do. Well, I kind of would like to defy that thought, because a year or two ago I was reading a biography on Elizabeth Taylor. When I was a kid, in my gifted class, we had a heroes project, who your hero was. Mine was Lucille Ball, and also I think at the beginning I also picked Jane Goodall because they're both awesome. And one of my best friends, Sarah, picked Elizabeth Taylor. Well, being the nerdy little 6th graders that we were, we totally teased Sarah about that, talking about how Liz Taylor, had all those marriages and she couldn't settle with a man and blah, blah, blah. And we just weren't too cool about it. I mean, even Sarah may crack sometimes, which, it's no big deal. It's Liz Taylor. But as I got older and as I started learning more about her, and I read a couple biographies and stuff and watched some movies or whatever, I realized that she went through 8 marriages. And she didn't settle. Some people might say that she was finicky, that she gave up too easily, that she didn't work to make the marriages work. Well, even if she was all of those things, she still 8 times with 7 different men put herself at risk to get her heart broken again. That's pretty brave. To me, I couldn't even imagine going through 1 divorce, and after 2, I think I would just give up and say, I'm done. Obviously, this isn't for me. I just will never find anybody, and I'm not suited to anyone, and I'm probably a horrible wife, and, I would have just given up and been done with it. I think a lot of people would do that. I think to put yourself in that position 8 times with 7 different people is just mind-boggling. It's phenomenal. That's incredibly brave to me. And yeah, she might have not worked as hard on her marriages as some people could have, but why should we not be happy? I don't know her. Maybe she realized that she was never going to be happy with this person, and she just kept trying, and that to me is so, so courageous. I don't think I could. I think after a couple times I would have just shriveled away and given up and sat in a corner for the rest of my life, which is pretty lame. Anyways, those are just kind of the philosophies I've developed, that giving up is not always the worst thing, that you've got to be true to yourself, and if you're not happy with the situation and you've already worked to make it work and it's still not working for you, you have the right, you are entitled to stop. You are entitled to be happy. You are entitled to try new things. Even if people boo you for being that lame person who has decided to not put in their full worth, who's decided to give up essentially. You are perfectly entitled to find your happiness. Sorry about that. Had a knock on my door. Hazards of living in a dorm. I don't think I could ever like go uninterrupted or like film exactly where I wanted to, even if I lived at home still, because, you know, family. Anyways, with that being said about giving up and everything, I also believe that you should always, always, always try to make things work. Like, I must admit, like, being 5 or 6 hours away from home up here all by myself at a college where I don't know anybody and where I just feel very out of place is very stressful, and has made me consider transferring back down home like 100 times or so, and like seriously looked into the paperwork and stuff. I'm still going to stick it out at least for the entire year. 2 semesters, I'm going to make my best of it. I mean, it's going to be hard at first. I know that, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I just know that if by the end of the year I'm still not happy and I've tried my hardest, then I don't think there's anything wrong with giving up and saying, you know what, I can't do this. I'm gonna go home. So, those are my thoughts on giving up. It is okay as long as you know that it's the right thing and you know that you're doing this for better reasons. You're not just giving up because you're lazy and you don't want to work through it. You're doing it because you're looking for your happiness and you've already tried everything you possibly can and you just can't see yourself being happy in this relationship and giving this speech and going to this movie and staying at this college and buying this car, you know, whatever it is. Honestly, you just have to really look inside yourself and ask, is this what I want? Can I get through this? Will I be happy in the end? And I know I'm not perfect. I'm still trying to live up to some of these expectations myself. So, just my thoughts.